Hi guys and girls, my name is Alan Winters. I am here to talk to you about kind of my life story about growing up and having to drop out of high school and how hard it is to be able to get a job and don't have a high school diploma or a GED equivalent to a high school diploma. I was born and raised in Liberty City. That's at Sabine High School. And we had a hard time with my parents being able to make ends meet, having to work 2 or 3 jobs, and it didn't just work out with the money. My parents had to file for bankruptcy and basically just have to start all over, and we had nothing. And I had to drop out of school and go traveling on the road, just states to states, doing construction. My dad was doing the construction so he could make more money. When we did that, I dropped out. I didn't have no one to stay with. I had 2 years left of high school left. We dropped out, went to California, and I had nothing to do, just sitting around the house. So I looked at trying homeschooling to see what I could do there. My homeschooling, everything was going good, but when the job would finish, we'd move to another state. They couldn't get my schoolwork mailed to me. I would try to mail work that I finished back to them, and it was taking too long, too many problems, a lot of money going back and forth, paying for the homeschooling and the books, material that I needed. They actually dropped me because it was just too hard keeping things going. About a year later, year and a half later, we went to Oklahoma. Ponca City, Oklahoma, and that's the first time I tried to go to a college and study for my GED to take the test when I was ready. I was kind of pretty far behind for needing to study to take my test because I dropped out of high school so early. There's a lot of things I missed and didn't finish, so I didn't know anything about it. I took my GED test once and I failed it extremely bad, and in this process, when I was studying for it, I was in the process of also trying to get a job to be able to have a little bit of money to take care of things and also pay for my studying for my GED. I failed it the first time. I studied for a little bit longer, and probably about another 3 or 4 months longer, then I took the test again, and I still failed it very badly to where I needed to study a lot more. Well, we had a problem come up in the family, and my grandpa got diagnosed with cancer. It was very bad. They were saying he wasn't going to make it, so we were trying to find a way to pay for doctor bills because he couldn't work no more. I decided to drop out of my GED and just forget it, just like I did with my high school. And that caused a big problem because I still couldn't get a job because I didn't have a diploma. Luckily, my dad was on a construction job in Oklahoma, and he pulled some strings and talked to some supervisors and some bosses, and they said they would hire me and give me a chance to make sure I could do the job and do the mathematical problems that I would have to have with the job, read a tape measure, and stuff like that when it comes to adding things, if I could operate a calculator and everything, and they hired me. So I was able to help out with bills and get extra money to help out with things, but in the process I went to 15 different jobs and they wouldn't even give me a chance to sit down and talk with them just because I didn't have a high school diploma. And that was in a long stretch of about 6 to 7 months that took place, of trying to get a job before I was able to get one with my dad. After that, he passed away. We all moved back to East Texas and came back down here. A few years later, actually quite a few years later, about 5 to 6 years later, I started getting a job welding. My dad taught me how to weld. It was hard because I still had a hard time to get into a place because I still didn't have a high school diploma, and when I would try to get into a welding job, they were like, hey, you're not qualified enough, you don't have your high school diploma. They even try to give me a test. Can you read a tape measure? Can you do these mathematical problems? Can you read? And it was hard for me because a lot of it I couldn't. I wasn't strong enough at reading. I wasn't strong enough to have enough head knowledge of mathematical problems. So I had a hard time, but somebody finally gave me a chance after I've tried for months and months to get a job, and I finally got one, and I kept it, and I got well known with my name at welding, so it wasn't hard to get a welding job after that. But I wanted to prove to myself, because I took the test so many times and did not make it, so I wanted to prove to myself that I could pass that GED test, and I wanted to prove to my friends, my family, and I wanted to get that test taken care of and passed. But I had a lot of discouragement. I didn't have enough confidence in myself. I had a young lady that I married, made my wife, and she just drove me and stood right there beside me and said, "Hey, you're going to do this. You're going to pass it, and I'm going to help you." And she helped me study. Well, I finally took my GED test of 2013, and in December, I passed it. And we were both just pumped and excited about it. We threw a big party and everything because it was a very long, started to get emotional. It was a very long process. A lot of discouragement and not having faith and confidence in myself that I could do things. But I passed it. We had that big party and everything that I passed it. And now all doors are open. I can go to college now. I can get more degrees. I can get more certifications, more skills under my belt. I can get jobs anywhere now because I have my diploma that opens a door for me to be able to take my life to the next step, to be able to take my family to the next step, and be able to provide for my family. Now, I'm very, very thankful that I took my test in 2013 because January of 2014, the whole GED test has changed. Instead of being $80 to take your test, now it is $120 to take your test. And you still have to go to study classes and stuff like that and show that you were actually at study classes for so many hours before you're even allowed to take your test now. And instead of being a 250-word essay, now it's a 3-page essay. And the time limit is a lot shorter now because everything's on a computer. You don't get the option of computer or do it all on paper. I took it on paper. The time limits were a lot longer for each test, math, reading, history. You had a lot longer time to take it. Now you don't. It's a lot shorter because supposedly computer's faster. And you have to know how to type to do a 3-page essay in so many minutes. So it's definitely a lot harder now. Honestly, for the things I went through in life, I promise you, please stay in school. Life is very hard. Life can be very rough. It will throw you down. You just have to pick yourself back up, keep your chin up, be faithful to God, put Him first, and just bite down and just stay in school. It's so much easier to get your diploma, and as soon as you're out of school, your goals are wide open and anything's possible.
Thank you for sharing your story. I wanted to ask you, whenever you started studying for the test this last time when you passed it, how long did you have to study and to prepare for that?
It was actually about a whole year. January of 2013 is when I very first started studying myself with my wife's help at the house. She got me a GED book for Christmas. And we were studying in that and seeing that I need a lot more help because I could not study that by myself with my wife trying to help me also with me holding a full-time job, working 10, 12 hours a day, plus my wife holding a full-time job, working 10 hours a day. As soon as we get home, we wouldn't have a whole lot of time to study, so we were having to cram pack things, and it made it hard, stressful, restless, didn't get much sleep, trying to study a lot. But about a year that it took me. And then I started the GED classes of studying in August of 2013, and by December I was ready to take my test, and I passed it.
Okay. You mentioned that you had tried to take the test in Oklahoma. When was that?
That was year 2003. I was 18 years old. That was a long time there, from 2003 to 2013. It's about 10 years of a span there. I had a family, I had a house, I did have a welding job, so I was able to kind of make ends meet, but I couldn't study and at the same time make ends meet. Like I said, I had a vehicle payment, I had maintenance work to do on the vehicle when it would break down. I had gas, I had to buy tires, food, I had a house, I had to pay bills on the house, water, electricity, and still take care of my family. So I didn't have really time to sit down and put time into studying because I was so tired the time I would come home. Plus I had about a 35-minute to 40-minute drive back home every day. So it was tough, you know, and then count all the times I would get sick or have to go to the doctor. You know, life throws all kinds of turns and curves at you. You know, you never know when you may have to throw down $100, $200 here or a couple of thousand here to have something fixed or to pay for it. So I didn't have the money to even take the test sometimes or to even study.
So the more time that went by, would you say the easier it became to just kind of put that off?
Yeah, it was easier just to push it to the side. And plus, my confidence level played a big role in it. I got my confidence level from my wife for just sitting there, just not giving up on me and drilling me to want to try and to help me. And she would go a long ways to help me do all kinds of, laundry, and cooking and chores that we had to take care of just so I could have the extra time and she could have the extra time to sit down with me and study.
So for the students who are experiencing life circumstances that have made it harder to try to stay in school and stay after their studies, but they're working extremely hard to get to their graduation date, what advice do you have for them? What encouragement can you give them?
The number one thing is don't give up. Keep your chin up high, put God first, have faith, and you can do anything. Anything you set your mind to, if you will stick to it, you can do it. And whatever you do, don't sit there and be quiet about something. If you have a question or if you're confused about something or you need help, ask for someone's help. Even if it's another student that you know does great in class, and if it's okay with the teacher, get that student to help you, to kind of help you to study, help you to understand things. Or, the best thing would be is to sit down with your teacher and just tell her, hey, I'm having problems with this. I don't understand this. And she will help you. That's why she's there. She's there to help you get the training, get the schooling that you need so you will be prepared for what life has to throw at you.
All right. Well, we appreciate you sharing with us
Yes,
and
ma'am.
sharing your story. Thank you very much.
Thank you.